What is up, everyone? I am going to talk about. I don't know why I'm like gravitating towards like phone content. I don't know why, because I have the ROG phone. My old phone is the Nexus 6P. I'm gonna take off the phone case. Okay, so yeah, the Nexus 6P was my old phone. Now I bought this phone like refurbished about a year after it came out, but it is from 2015. It's about 3 years old now. Now the thing is, they're really cheap online. If you buy them brand new, I would suggest probably never to update them unless it's really crucial to, but they stopped supporting these phones. It kind of sucks that they stopped supporting these phones after 3 years. On this last leg that I, used this phone, which was basically throughout this year, around May, June is when they announced they're going to stop supporting the phone. No more updates, no more. I mean, some security updates here and there, but no operating system updates, no updates in general. Because like what happened, what I started noticing is maps started lagging a lot more. Every time I sent a message, it would say not send, resend. So, but then my friends would complain saying I'm sending them like 5 messages at once. Once I got my new phone, it stopped happening, which was kind of cool. It actually kind of sucks because like this phone was actually a really good phone. Like, it's got like a Snapdragon like 825, I think, and it has like an octa-core processor, 3 gigs of RAM, 128 gig hard drive. So it was a good phone. Was a good phone. Now if you look online, they're about less than $200 now online. You can get them for like probably around $150 now, which is not a bad price for these phones. But the problem is when they stop supporting them. Now, usually when you think of an update, it actually means it's good, but it sometimes doesn't because that last update, the more they updated the phone, the more and more it slowed down. And people tell me it's the battery, and that's possible, but the phone in general was just laggy. Like Google Nexus, like just went downhill after basically 2017. And I don't know if they're worth buying now anymore. I would suggest just maybe getting like a new Zen phone or like a more recent, or the Pixel 2, just something from last year as opposed to something as old as 2015. It's still, it's got like a 1440p display, records in 4K, like, and it's not bad. The battery started shutting off around anywhere below 30%. It was unpredictable. So once it hit 30%, anything below that, it would randomly shut down thinking the battery was at zero. So the battery was failing on me. Now I could have probably replaced the battery for about, $15. I would have had to pry it open myself. And typically they don't make it easy to take batteries out of these phones because they're all like, you got to have micro screws and adhesive, basically a plastic. You just need certain tools to remove the adhesive. You'd also have to use a heat gun to remove the adhesive, and I definitely don't feel comfortable with that. Same thing with like if I'd hope I'd have to never take this off. I'm hoping because of my good charging habits that this phone provides you, because of the AI charging, it'll last at least 4 years with just constantly, keeping up with good charging habits. Basically keeping it between 40 and 80%. This one, however, I used to have good charging habits. I would just, since the battery had about a 3200 milliamp battery, it would last basically the whole day. But the problem is there is no smart charging or AI charging. So once it hits 100%, you have to unplug it, or even less than that. After about the first year and a half, I started to stop having good charging habits and just start charging it overnight because the battery wouldn't last the entire day. Sometimes at conventions, I would have to reserve, like, just not use my phone as often because the battery wasn't lasting as long. With this phone, I'm able to charge it every other day or every day, depending on how much I use it. But it still lasts 4,000 milliamps, 3,200 milliamps. Now, typically the standard for phones now are about 4,000 milliamps, except for Cat, which has a 5,000 milliamp battery, and it lasts a very long time. And it's actually $300, which is actually a pretty good deal for what you're getting. And it's a rugged phone, so like it actually has, you don't need a case for it basically, because it already has like rubber stops at the edges of it, and it's a big phone. So but yeah, this phone was good. I don't know how Google is with their first party flagships, because let's say this phone was only meant to last 2 years, and the third year was kind of dragging it out, especially because they stopped supporting it. And I don't know if it's because of Huawei or because Nexus is just obsolete because of the Pixel, but like I don't necessarily know how well a Pixel 1 works today, because the Pixel 1 came out in 2016 and we're in 2019. But the phone is roughly about 2 to 2.5 years, 2 and 2.25 years old. So it's like it's not. I don't know how well they're still working for people that still have them, because typically we like to upgrade phones every year now for some reason. But I don't know, because and the reason why I swapped over to Asus is because I feel like they might push this phone to last longer with updates and with support. Because once a phone stops getting support is when it starts going downhill. But also the battery, once the battery starts failing, it's obviously going to go downhill. I don't recommend buying these phones. Get a $200 phone that is new, that is from this year, instead of dropping less money on a good phone that was good back in 2015, because it is not good anymore. I did do a long-term review earlier this year about this phone, saying that it's not a bad phone to get. I suggest don't ever get the Nexuses. And actually, I don't suggest getting Huawei phones. I mean, Huawei phones are pretty good, but I don't think they're meant to last. Now, because the thing is, when I look at phones, I look at like long-term like support, but long. I just want them to last longer rather than a year. And a lot of like these Chinese products, like I think Huawei's Chinese, right? I don't remember, but Huawei doesn't seem like it was meant to last. Samsung phones, people are still using their S7s and S6s, and they're still working, which is cool. But phone companies that make phones that are releasing every year want you to buy the new product and stop using the old product. So then the depreciation is a lot faster, and it's not good. I mean, if you're dropping like $600 on a phone, like, are you really, really going to be spending $600 a year? Maybe, or even when the price starts increasing. Like my Asus ROG phone cost me $900. Now I want at least, the way I'm trying to look at it is, okay, I spent $900 on it. If it lasts a year, I get my $900 worth, right? And then if it lasts 2 years, cut that price in half, and just keep cutting the price in half every year you use it. So basically, if you make it last for 4 years, it's like making the phone last basically $150 per year. I don't know. That's just like something I'm trying to like ease my mind with. Like, oh, I just spent this much money on a phone, but the longer I use it, the more I get out of its money's worth. So hopefully, my goal is 4 years, especially because I can't afford phones constantly. So I usually pay the price up front. I don't finance my phones just because that's just how I am with it. So I actually put it on my credit card and then paid off my credit card like a week later. So, but yeah, so don't get old phones like this, Huawei. At least get a more notable brand. I think Asus is a trustworthy brand so far. This is my first Asus phone, so I don't know how well they are. I mean, I was actually eyeing the Zen phones too, but the Zen phones also have a 4,000 milliamp battery and also have pretty good specs. But the reason why I went with the gaming brand is because it's overclocked. It definitely has better ventilation and a lot more accessories to deal with, and it has RGB lighting. That's the selling point, is the RGB lighting. But Nexus, Google, having a first party Google phone with first party Android was nice. I liked that. I like that. I don't really care about the Samsung OS that much, so which is why I strayed away from Samsung phones. And the funny thing is, people go for Samsung or Apple, and then there's this. But Android has such a wide market for phones that people don't pay attention to, and you should. You should pay attention to its, the specs, the battery life, how long, look at their previous products and see how long they've lasted for people. Because I think, these phone reviewers are nice to know all the specs and what they can do, but the average consumer can't afford a phone every year. At least to my knowledge, it's a waste of money. So it's good to know that, how long will this phone last you? Once again, Nexus 6P, 3 years max. At least for me. Maybe some people are still using their Nexus 6Ps, but Nexus, I rarely ever found people with Nexus phones. Now Pixel is way more advertised, way more mainstream, so a lot more people I know have Pixels now. And Pixel's a good phone, especially if you get a phone directly from Google. I just don't know how well Google is with supporting their phones, especially because Nexus. Nexus kind of was discontinued because of the Pixel, so maybe that's why they stopped supporting it. Or maybe, I don't know if maybe later on this year the Pixel 1 will stop getting support, which is a possibility. So I'm not sure, but once again, I don't suggest buying 3-year-old phones. This was a year old when I bought it. So it was a really good phone when I first bought it. The battery life was great. Everything about the phone was fast and good. But then, like I said, after a year and a half of usage, it just went downhill. And I did buy this phone for $300 at the time, and when it first came out, I think it was $600 or $700. So I basically got this phone half off. It was manufacturer's refurbished. There was some slight scuffs on it when I bought it, but it still lasted a long time, and it didn't really give me any problems. Sometimes it would randomly shut down, but I think it might have been because of the power button being held by accident, or just a glitch in the system. The Asus phone hasn't really given me that many problems. Actually, it hasn't given me any problems at all so far, but it is a brand new phone, so that's hopefully what you would expect on a brand new phone. So once again, don't buy the Nexus 6P. I don't even suggest buying the Pixel 1, Pixel 2 and up, or the S8 and up, the Zenfone 5 and up, or 7, even the Zenfone 4 possibly, but the 5 isn't too pricey, so that might be a good phone to invest in. But yeah, so if you guys thought this was useful, if you guys liked what I had to say, please subscribe and like the video. If you didn't, well, I don't even know why I keep saying that. I keep saying, well, if you didn't, well, then what am I going to say? Well, but anyways, so yeah, if you guys liked it, like and subscribe. If you guys didn't, damn, I said it again. All right. Thank you for watching.